looked at Joshua 24:15. Joshua is calling the men to action. He's saying, make a decision today. Choose today whom you will serve. You know, the gods your forefathers served, or the God of creation. And then he goes on to say, as for me and my house, we'll serve the Lord. In other words, he's saying, man up and step up and make a decision. You're going back and forth, and you're in this lukewarm. Stephen and I joke about operating at the highest level of mediocrity. That's what they were doing. Right. So when we looked at, well, what does Scripture say a man and a father is supposed to do? And so we started going through Scripture and wrote this resolution. And it went through many drafts, but what it boiled down to is specifically what God calls men to do.
Okay, now it starts out by saying, I do solemnly, and of course it should be solemn, resolve before God. You see this essentially as a kind of a covenant, a pact with the Almighty.
Absolutely.
Which is pretty sobering.
Well, we take so seriously our marriage vows, and we should. And a couple stands before God in the world and they say, I'm going to love you and covenant with you for the rest of my life. But then, what do we have for dads when it comes to their role and responsibility for their kids? Well, you see that in Scripture. You know, when Joshua is saying, I'm going to lead my family spiritually, we haven't seen that in our modern day. And so we wanted to create something where it gives a man an opportunity to say, you know what, I'm throwing the gauntlet down here, and I'm drawing a line in the sand, and I'm saying, this is where I stand. This is what God's called me to do. And so we wanted men to resolve. And so one of the verses that inspired us is, it says in Daniel chapter 1, that this young man resolved in his heart not to defile himself with the king's meat and wine. You know, he had heard the commands of God growing up, and now he's put in an environment and asked to disobey God. And he said, I can't do that. I'm resolving in my heart that this is the direction I'm going to go. And then you see his request, his appeal before the Prince of Eunuchs, those kind of things. Well, you see that in Joshua's life, and we're thinking, what happens in a man when he really makes his mind up? Not when he just says, I'm thinking about doing this, or I want to do this, or I know I need to be a better dad. What happens in a man when his heart resolves? And so the Bible uses the word steadfast. Every time Scripture uses the word steadfast, it's a picture of a man, or a woman for that matter, standing up, making a commitment, locking in, and moving forward. And you know, the psalmist said, my heart is steadfast, O Lord. I will trust in you. And so we wanted men to be as steadfast as Joshua.
I want to know what God expects of me.
The Resolution for Men by Stephen and Alex Kendrick strategically inspires men to reconcile with their past, re-engage in their present, and move forward with a bold resolution for the future.
God has set a standard for all of us, and it is an awesome standard with awesome results. And we need to choose, God, are we going to do it your way, or are we going to try to do it our way?
The Resolution for Women by Priscilla Schirer challenges all women to be intentional about thriving in God's calling on their lives, to bless and change things in their world for the better.
But the ripple effect that it's going to have on the people you love is going to be staggering.
The Resolution for Men and Women is a movement intended to help strengthen your family, community, and our nation to become fully resolved.
We would like to send you a copy of one or both of these books as our thanks to you for your support. Please call 1-800-265-3100. You can also write us or visit crossroads.ca.